So it's going to be harder to get past our critical areas, but it's also going to be harder to dump. And I just think it's going to be, this is like, I don't know, I have it worked up to be that it's going to be like crazy and fascinating, but it also might just take a really long time. And the interesting aspect might be that the temporal side of things is expanded, like more sideways than vertical volatility.
Yeah, imagine if X went up naturally. That would be cool, right? Like as a yield bearing asset, if it just went up 1 penny a year, it would be unbelievable.
Yeah, without the whale games and like the super hype cycles or super euphoria cycle, we don't need the whale. I mean, this last pump has showed me that the Pulsex wallet and the God whale are not needed. Like we all aped into the coin because they did. They were the leading wallet. Like they were the driving force behind the pump. But really, they didn't put in enough money to be fully responsible
No,
for the pump. It was the little
no,
guy.
not at all. Yeah, it was the little guy. And the funny thing is, most of the people did not participate in our community. So we did this with only 10, 20% of the people who were paying attention and able to DCA in or buy in the hard, whatever you want to call it. Most of the people missed it completely, distracted, and uh, that proves a lot, right? Like literally, it's like, yeah, just change your mindset, and we could pump 10 times harder than this, right? This is basically what it is, and I think this is the problem with where a lot of us are having issues with the early hexagon is their loyalty got tainted a while ago, and it's shown in the price. And if and it, I guess we should be happy they're liquidating their bags this cheap, so we are. But it's just kind of crazy because they were the ones who convinced a lot of people to join Hex, and they were the ones to be disloyal to it and push the price down so much. It's like this is it's
Yes.
really disingenuous of you guys to keep pushing
And
the price
those
down while trying to get a couple people in. Like, what? So, I don't know. RG's got this thing with, oh, look at these cars and look at this, all this junk, and we're doing that. And it's like, that's not onboarding nobody. It's rental cars, guys. Come on. Or what are you saying? You sold some X to get a Lambo? No, you didn't. It's a rental. So I don't know. It's really weird what he's doing. This whole like we don't need to tour nothing. If we just talk to the same onboards that we talked to for Pulsex, we'd be golden, right?
Yep. All this price action is not whales. It's not all those guys, the OGs. They're not stepping in and buying up the pumps. It's just us. You look all day long. Go through the transactions during the pump, and it's guys with 40 grand in their wallet that are finally feeling safe to come back in. It's not the whales that are actually moving. I mean, look at the volume. If you got millions and millions of dollars in volume, and there's like $8 million of whale action, if let's say there's $10 million of whale action and $100 million of volume, that's 90% of the price action was created by me and you, wage DCAers. And I hear that all the time. Oh, if the whales can do it, I'm like, no, man, you and me can do it. We don't need the bridge money. Aside from the bridge money, there's money on
You
Pulsechain that
know,
we can
you know
just
what's
move into our
funny is
assets.
what's funny is it actually works the opposite way in the real world generally. Like you want big players want to see a bunch of little guys and then they move in, right? They don't want to move in as the sole whale that's going to make Tesla the most expensive share on earth. Come on. They want a bunch of little guys
Exactly.
to get involved. And then they're like, all right, I'll put in some money in Tesla, because there's hundred thousands of investors. Then I'll do it, and then it becomes institutionalized with big investors. But generally, like in the real world or outside, even in crypto, do you really want to go over to new layer one where there's zero little guys trading? You got 10 VC whales. Okay, what are you guys going to do with each other? Try to flip coins on each other? Come on.
Yep. I don't know why that's an unpopular opinion. That should just be like basic knowledge of market. It's like candle knowledge. Where do candles come from? We should all know this stuff.
It's because you can't see it on the chart. This is the problem with most people, right? They want to see a big candle on the chart to try to make sense of it all. It's like, no, actually, there's 100 thousand little tiny dents in that chart that make the chart what the chart is, and you're just oversimplifying everything. Don't be a noob and look at the, 20,000 buyers, and if you add up all of the little buys they did, then yeah, it is whales. That's why initially I did that campaign, which was called Eat the Whales. It was probably 2 years ago. I don't know. Eat the whales, basically, right? So it's like, yeah, if you got one whale, you just have, 50 people buy them up, or 100 people.
Totally. And I mean, I love that campaign. That I was in this trading group. I've talked about this a million times, but I was in this trading group in 2017, and it kind of evolved into a pump and dump group because there was probably like 2,000 guys in there, and we were always in the voice chat. Every single one of us was sitting at the computer 18 hours a day, day trading, sitting in the voice chat, talking to each other, looking at stuff we could scalp. And scalping is like 10 minutes in and you're out of a trade. So like really short swing trading. And in the voice chat, I think I noticed a pattern where we had so much power, it was more than anybody realized. And I'm pretty sure I might have noticed this for the group. But it got to a point where it was a few thousand guys that had made a lot of money in crypto. And we would look at a chart and then somebody would identify it, bring it to the group, and we'd all analyze it and say what we thought about the TNA. And right before our eyes, big greed candles would just grow on it. And it became a pattern where every time we look at some little project, we just put a massive green dildo on the chart and make a shitload of money off of it. And it's millions and millions of dollars of volume per hour. And none of us suspected that that was all fake. And the reality was that just us couple guys were able to control the chart in any way that we wanted. And we have that a lot in Hex too. Just a couple guys in a voice chat control the charts. It's not the whales.
Well, okay, look at some of the buys that Sacrifice Wallet did. It was $15,000, I think, at a time. It wasn't like they didn't do $100,000 buys. They just kept doing medium buys because that's a cleaner way to get rid of the sellers, right? You wipe out a seller at a time.
Yes, and as you slip from a $15,000 buy, the market eats it up, and you get to have that same slippage instead of going down. Instead of going further down, you just wait over time, and it goes out over time, and you get a better deal. Also, our markets can't really handle $1 million dumps in or out. Our biggest, most recent pump day, let's just say day three. Day three had $14 million of volume. Interesting. Oh, but that's the Pulse Die chart. Okay, and most of the liquidity is on Pulse ETH. So to get a good measure of fish versus whales, you'd have to probably check like a cumulative review of the volumes on all the liquidity pools combined.
There's hackers in the system that hack for a reason. They don't take out the money, they keep the money because it's like, hey, if I could get it, and then someone else could. So you need to learn. The system is very righteous. It's just people don't look at it righteous. And the more we stain it with this extracting or stain it with this hypocrisy, this idea that we need to dumb it down, this idea that we need to look at crypto as something so simple, it ruins the beauty of it. It ruins the complexity, right? Like you and I are so unique, but it's our complexity that makes us unique. And it's our complexity that makes us that quote unquote, right, our inner beauty. It's the fact that you're unique and you're so complex. And same thing for me or anyone else in this that makes us amazing. So it's the same thing like crypto. It's like the complexity of it is what makes us thrive towards it. But yet people want to downplay the system, downplay the people that actually provide for the system just for their own main net benefit. And that to me is it's straight competition to what we're trying to build. And that's why in this community, like Richard, why do you think Richard doesn't lean into anyone? Why aren't people always on Richard? Like, I think he sees what I see. He sees this hypocrisy in things.
I think he keeps it simple, buddy. I think that, you know, and you make a good point about altcoins and that people might miss an opportunity.
You really think he keeps it simple? You think he keeps it simple? Sorry to interrupt, but remember when he was on stream on people because they didn't know English?
That's great.
I'm not
There's a lot of people like me that keep it simple that say, you know what, Hex has a first mover advantage. I mean, I only have so much money, and I look at the price, product market fit, it's perfect. First mover advantage, I can only put so much money in.
Since if we're not going to use the term yield for Hex, as Famous was talking about before, what would be the best sales pitch if I was pitching to a TradFi guy? Because I've got a client, he's quite a wealthy guy. I'm not too sure what the best sales pitch is for him. He's not too knowledgeable about crypto, but he's like full on, you know, real deal business guy, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars he's worth.
I understand. Do you know a bit about his investment portfolio? Like what he tends, like, forget about his risk. Like tend to, like, is he into like real estate? Is he
he
into like
likes
stocks?
he likes to like buy businesses, you know, those failing businesses which need to be like restored back to health.
Yeah, so he's usually the gentleman who believes in individuals and provides the capital.
Not
And then
the
allows
capital, like the operations. He's like the operations guy. Like he knows, he's like the business side kind of thing. But he's in like the mining industry and all this kind of thing. But he's like oh yeah, I've heard of Bitcoin and stuff like this. But if, you know, I don't want to like pitch it the wrong way, I'm kind of like, I feel like, oh, if I say the wrong thing, I'm gonna get the kind of the opportunity to kind of onboard like someone who's potentially really
I would try
useful.
to relate the best opportunity for him to do what he's best at first. Not to make, because a lot of things with rich people, the worst conversation you can have is how to tell someone to stop doing what they do properly and to do something else for the means of speculation. No smart, successful, rich person will do that, because that's the wrong thing to do. You don't stop doing what you're good at. That's not in the cards. You add on to it, right? That's what people do. They add on more and more and more, but they always maintain what they do the best at. So I would really suggest asking him more questions about his investment style, his investment lifestyle, more to like, regardless of what he does for the investment, but like, what do you like in investments? Do you like the fact that you have control over the business because you're head of operations? Awesome. So maybe you would like to get into these technological businesses that have a protocol where if you put enough stake into it, or if you provide something to them, then you would be able to get this much out of it, and therefore generating, because you have to relate what he likes. And if I were to be with that gentleman, I would ask him a lot of questions about not what he does to make money, but what do you look into? Like, what do you look at? Do you like agriculture? Do you like transportation? Do you like the transaction money? Do you like processing money? Do you like the opportunity of technology being bought out? Because even if people invest in start techs, they don't like the start tech. They like the opportunity of the start tech gaining value, interest, demand, and then they can go and figure out how to give the supply to therefore profit off of that X marks the spot place of demand. So what I've learned over the years about those type of clients is ask them about more what they look in an investment, and then attack that with crypto. It doesn't have to start with Pulsechain or Hex. It could start with, like, if he says he likes mining, well, then explain to him what Chia does. Explain to him what Litecoin does. The opportunity of Litecoin, because it's basically built off Bitcoin, but it provides faster transactions, less data, less this. So if you do this, then you could provide mining for this, blah, 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 blah. Or if Chia,
sorry. I meant, when I said mining, I meant the other type of mining, like.
Oh, you meant like resources, like gold and stuff.
Yeah, resources. Yeah.
So then okay, well then right then and there, if you can equate everything right off the bat, I understand that he loves the speculation of being able to receive the inflation of something. So the being able to discover gold means that he likes profiting off of inflating stuff. So he would really like Hex.
He is a gold bug, I believe, because just my.
So then he would really like Hex. He would really like Hex. He would like the opportunity, like, hey, if you put this much in, then you're allowed to get this much out. Right? It's not like gold where it's going to cost you always a minimum amount to go and create a digging well or a digging rig, and then you're going to only maybe profit off of speculation. This is for sure. No, you provide this much, you'll receive this much of the inflation. Therefore, you'll mine, quote unquote, right? You'll mint that much more Hex, therefore gaining that much more value. Like what he does with digging for rocks, or hey, just like how you get like the insider scoops and blah blah blah, where to go and how you bid on cheap land and blah blah blah. You can do that on the blockchain too. But it's gonna be really hard to relate to him if he really likes gold, man. And then you're talking to someone that also speculates off of something that is consistent, right? And gold has been very consistent. I don't think gold is going anywhere. I personally don't think gold isn't going anywhere. I think it's going to be more useful for in the future because of its density and its alloys and the type of metal it is, right? We still don't use it to its fullest. We just use it for jewelry, and right now we're overusing it for technology. But I think it's going to be used for far greater technology due to its density. But, you're not going to be able to turn that guy's head around off of something that's been in market for over 10,000 years as to something that's been in market for 10 years.
It's true.
It's going to be very hard for you to move his mind and convince him that, no, this is going to stay. You're going to be able to compare Bitcoin to other technological things like, hey, okay, the internet is very valuable. It wasn't very valuable at the beginning. It had a run up, parabolic run up. But look at the technology. Look what technology's done in the last century. So you can bet, there's a lot of things you can have conversations with these gentlemen to stick it in their throat.
I think that's the hard part.
Listen to me.
I don't get much
most of
face
these
time.
guys don't want. They don't want to listen to you, right? They're gonna probably stop you and explain to you why their idea is better, because that's what they do. This is what rich people. A room filled with rich people is probably gonna be the most unproductive conversation, because everyone has something you could do that makes money, because they all do make money, and not all of them are making money the same way. So there's going to be the smart one that listens, and there's going to be that guy that talks. So you're going to want to make him talk first, and then attack every point that he talks about. I like this. I like this. I like that. I like this is why. I like this. And then from that, it's a sales tactic where you listen to the client first, and then you go and you attack everything he says, to then put him in a corner where he just says yes, no to every question after. And then you guide him to what you want him to do. And you give him the option of, do you want me to send an email now or later?
And then what about maybe a crowd question, if you had to choose one or the other, like pitch Hex or pitch Pulsechain, and if you had to choose one, do people want to vote on that?
I'm sorry.
Pulsechain.
So what?
Hex or Pulsechain? Is that what you just asked me?
Yeah, if you had to choose one, like pitching to a TradFi guy, business guy, and you had to choose one, what do you guys think?
But it really depends on what the person is. Like, if you want my opinion, my partner is ETH for that XRP when I told him not to do that. But I look at him and I say, okay, you're stupid for doing that, but you know what you're smart in doing? You've just held it. So you're like the best Kryptonian to be part of crypto, because you just hold, right? So it depends on that person. I would say don't buy Pulse, buy Hex, stake it and put it for 5 years, and then come back in 5 years and go get it. Pulse, on the other hand, is better for people who need to use it. It's better for people that want to do stuff with it, right? Like, okay, you could hold it and speculate, but that's one piece of the bag. If you want something to be done, like, the most valuable part about Hex is that it does something as you hold it, right? Pulsechain does nothing as you hold it. So if it depends on the client too. If the person wants to integrate himself into crypto, into the EVM, I tell him to get Pulsechain. Why? Well, because you can get into Hex and you can get into other EVMs with Pulsechain. So it depends really on the client, man. It really depends on the person. Like, I'm not that type of guy to just say, oh yeah, Pulse because of the outcome and how it could pop up in X because of the opportunity of how it's just low market cap right now. No. It's just like, look at the individual. Like, it depends on what your goal is, right? Well, what's your goal? You want to be in here every day? Do you want to, touch your stakes? Do you want to be active? Do you not want to be active? Are you more of a 10-year, 5-year, 2-year type of guy? There's so many ways that people, and this is the conversations these quote unquote influencers should have with their community, but they never do. They never take the time to. They just say, hey, listen to me. But they're never right.
Onboarding efforts and onboarding skills have to probably go up a little bit.
Yeah, like their best onboarding skill is listen to me. And I would understand if listening to them would be profitable, but it was clearly not. So why should we listen to them if what they did was complete failure?
Thanks for the advice.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. I hope that clears things up, Pete, but I'm very bullish on this ecosystem. I'm very, very bullish. And the more I look into it, I'm pretty sure if we look into where the money's gone, it would just make it more bullish for us.
Are you still liking your $25 trillion total crypto market cap?
Yeah, easy.
Curiosity, is there a timeline for that? But what do you think the total will be at by the end of this year?
By 2040.
2040. Oh, that's good. Okay.
I think the next generation is going to be immersed into this technology of blockchain. Just like when we were born, it was like it was the crack of dawn for internet. And what I've seen since my birth as a child of what the internet's done, I don't see why by 2040 crypto can't do the same thing. Because the internet allowed the financial system to pivot, right? And
I was really hoping you'd say by the end of this year.
No, impossible, man. Impossible. Things are not done that way. Rush technology comes with a lot of updates. As I get older, I understand the virtue of patience, right? So I'm pretty sure by 2040, man.
Hey, can I ask you a hex question? E-hex question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been meaning to ask. I put it out on Twitter, but I don't have a lot of followers, so I'm going to try to explain it, and then hopefully
Go
you'll
ahead.
understand. If you look at the holders of e-hex, the top 1,000 holders is about 90 million on average. 90 million hex on each of them. It's a ridiculous amount of hex for the top 1,000 holders. Now, two questions. Do you think that those potentially could be 99% Richard Hart? And or how many of that, when you look at Etherscan, the holders, how many of those are staked? Like, does Etherscan count the stake tax as well? Like, I'm not sure if I understand that part.
So those are good questions. So no, the e-hex is not. It doesn't exist when it's staked, right? But you need to assume that less than 10% of the total supply is staked. Therefore, most of the coins which are in wallets, those are most of the coins. So we can't say, oh, well, you can't forget the staking. It's less than 10%. So all the coins are there. Then I posted a picture. I don't know if you saw it, but whoever has more than 10 million hex, there's only 3,000 something, 3,500 wallets that have that characteristic. Now, for the first 1,000 holders, right? Because that's all you see on Etherscan. If you see XF lobby and then a 3 to 5 day stake, that is rich. That's rich.
Could you repeat that one more time? If you see what?
You'll see XF lobby enter and exit, and then you'll see a stake, and the stake will be no more than 5 days. Go check that out. You're gonna see. You'd be very surprised how there's so Crispy actually on Crispy if you go check out the thread me and Axis had, and I'm gonna let you speak crypto and Profeta, sorry man, give me a second. So the thread with Axis where I posted that thing, Axis comments, and he also shows a picture of what Crispy shows. So there's not much, man. There's not many people that have access to those wallets in the first 1,000. But go Profeta, what's your opinion?
So he can also go to Hex Vision. This is the Elastic dashboard that I've been using for years now. I made this like Excel spreadsheet from the first 500. Took me approximately about 2 months to build this. To 500 wallets, and just paste it into the Elastic, and then it will bring out all those wallets that has all the stakes in it, and when the stakes are ending and how much they have. So that's what the main thing for me that have been doing, how I could identify, when they're gonna sell, when they're buying, when they're restaking, all the kind of stuff. So hex.vision/app dashboard. We can use that tool to all the informations.
So in my eyes, I'm extremely bullish. Like, this is great news.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to add to what Profeta said. When you're on Hex.Vision, looking at the end stake chart, for the new people, you can schedule when you're going to end your stake. Before you schedule when you're going to end your stake, look at that chart. That chart's really important to see how many of us are end staking at that time or around that time.
Yeah, man.
Constantly being built by short stake participants in the system.
Exactly, and if you follow the wallets, that's one of the main things that I've been doing. You can track down what they're doing, and a lot of them has the same behavior that I've been seeing for these couple of 2.5 years. A bunch of them, what they do is like they end the stake, take the profit, restake again, or move them to the Pulsechain network. But then of course, because on Ethereum it's cheaper right now. So what they also do is, like, of course, we also have the end stake on the other side of Pulsechain itself. So this is also creating this sell pressure for this month. But then it's almost over, guys. Almost over. You have to be patient.
Yeah, it's all about patience. And then you can just keep on giving me new things to say. For the short stake participants, one of the strategies that a lot of these wallets do also is the whatever you want to call it, the yield, the interest, the rewards they get. They roll it into their longer portion of a ladder onto another wallet or another address, sometimes the same address. So I'll end, let's say, a short stake, a 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day. I'll take my rewards, and those rewards get sent out into a 10-year range ladder. So those big players still have short stakes, so they'll always have basically liquid, or at least a 30-day on their wallet, and whatever rewards they get, they're building up their ladder on the other side. So you know, some liquid holders may look like a liquid holder, but they really have a laddered stakes in Hex. So these players are really not going anywhere. So yeah, there's going to be always sell pressure, and the name of the game is not about. The name of the game is your wallet. So you do your best for accumulation, DCAing, and when you stake, it's up to you, really. So. But you still want to take note of Hex.vision. That's a perfect website to look at all these participant behaviors, because there's so many variables to this that it could drive somebody crazy. And that's why I kind of wrote in the comments earlier, what I wanted to say was some of the frustration that Famous sees is due to people not doing the hard work. So back before Hex was created, we were in Telegram groups, and at the time we were all traders, we were all degens. Even Richard was a trader and shilling his own trading league at the time. At the same time, we were in this group, Strape and other kind of like stock trading and crypto trading groups. And Hex kind of like slowed most of us down when it came to trading, because we saw, hey, we don't have to trust anybody on the chart. We could just trust the code and make rewards and stuff like that. So that's where you kind of have a lot of this ideals mixing up from OGs to new people. But the name of the game really is you putting your time in. So I've seen it in all the cycles I've been in. It's just a repetitive. It's always going to be head. You know, this group versus this group. But at the end of the day, you know, everybody's kind of in the same circle. So without getting distracted, you got to put the hard work in and get to the level of the person you want to get to, or whatever wallet you're looking at. If you want to be like that wallet, you got to put that work in.
Exactly, man. We go all the way back, man, to the Reddit. Oh my God. All the way back to Reddit, all the way back to BTC forum. I don't know if you guys remember that. All the way back, man.